Tonight, find out why the Troy Public Library is encouraging kids to read during their summer break. Stay tuned, Troy TrojanVision Nightly News starts now.
From the High Definition Digital Production Center on the Troy campus, with news from Troy University locations around the world, this is Troy TrojanVision Nightly News.
Hello and welcome to Troy TrojanVision Nightly News for July 10th, 2013. I'm Hunter Beck. Thank you for joining us this evening. During the summer, some school children slack on their reading, but the Troy Public Library is trying to help prevent that with their summer reading program. Felicia Payne has more.
School's out for summer, but that doesn't mean that students have to put up their books. The Troy Public Library hosts a reading program to encourage students to dig into reading during their summer break.
They are reading books all throughout the summer and keeping track of how much they've read in a reading log. Those will turn into me next Tuesday, and then we'll have a top reader party for the 2 per age group in that group. And we try to have fun activities all during the summer as incentives as well to have them read more and just make the library a really fun place to come.
The summer reading program ends on Tuesday, July 16th, but students are encouraged to read all year round because Colvin says it will help students keep up their reading levels.
Well, the studies have proven if they do not read, their skill levels that they lose at least, and it's very significant, 3 to 6 months of their reading abilities. It's major that parents make sure that their children continue to read throughout the summer so we don't have that summer drop off.
And during the school year, the library offers tutors to help grade school students who may be struggling with different subjects in school.
We do have a tutoring program where students that are struggling, especially struggling readers, I actually use Troy University education majors, and it's made such significant difference in the children as their achievements in reading. And of course we do math and other areas, and we tutor from K through 12th grade. Any child that has a C or below in a subject qualifies that lives in Pike County.
Felicia Payne, Troy TrojanVision News.
There will be an activity for students ages 12 to 18 at the library Thursday night from 7 to 9 p.m. Once a month, the women of Troy have an opportunity to gather and hear from a variety of guest speakers at the Female Factor. This month, the event featured one of the more successful business women to come out of this area. Felicia Payne has the details.
Once a month, a group of women get together at the studio in downtown Troy to celebrate what makes them uniquely female.
Female Factor, we're about to celebrate our 2nd anniversary in August. We meet the 2nd Wednesday of every month here at the studio in downtown Troy. It is an organization that we started for women, for all the factors that make us uniquely female. Sorry gentlemen, it's women only, invited to the luncheon.
This month's featured speaker is a Pike County native who started selling her rolls out of her house and has now become an internationally known name.
Patricia Barnes is here today to talk with us about how she started her business and the different interests that she has.
Well, the Sister Schubert story is like a Cinderella story in the grocery business, and I like to encourage. I'm sort of an inspirational speaker more than anything, educational speaker, because I like to inspire people to dream their dreams and have their dreams become reality.
The free event is open to all women, and Herring says that the topics discussed at the luncheon are relevant regardless of your stage in life.
The topics that we talk about are actually age neutral. We talked about everything from abuse, child abuse, to spirituality, to women's health issues that affect any of us at any age. We've actually had the hot auto mechanic come in and tell you how to check your tires and the oil.
Felicia Payne, Troy TrojanVision News.
The Female Factor meets the 2nd Wednesday of each month at the studio in downtown Troy. And now taking a look at news from around the state. In Barton, officials say rescue workers have recovered the body of a New Jersey man who jumped into a creek to try to save his daughter. Rescue workers found the body of 37-year-old Roger Jamad Hayes yesterday. A Montgomery-based legal organization is alleging widespread physical and sexual abuse at 3 of the Alabama's prisons for men. The Equal Justice Initiative says it has uncovered dozens of cases of corrections officers abusing men at the Elmore Correctional Facility in Elmore, Bibb Correctional Facility in Brent, and Donaldson Prison near Bessemer. A Birmingham-based mining company has filed notification of plans to eliminate 425 jobs from its operations in Alabama. The company says in a letter sent to union officials that the workforce at its Shoal Creek mine will be reduced because of what it calls a significant downturn in business. Still to come on TrojanVision Nightly News, senior kicker Will Scott has been named to an award watch list. Mitchell Spoon will give us all the details and more coming up in sports. But first, House Republicans are trying to come up with their own path forward on immigration. We'll have that story and more after the break. Stay with us.
I'm Danielle Nottingham in Washington. Coming up, young people rally outside the Capitol with a message for House Republicans. Pass immigration reform now.
I'm Troy Mayor Jason Reeves. And I'm Jack Hawkins Jr., Chancellor of Troy University, and I'm delighted to join the mayor in asking you to keep our community and our university beautiful by recycling and using our precious resources wisely.
Not only does recycling help create jobs, it makes you feel great as well. You can pick up your blue bags at Troy City Hall or the Troy Public Library.
There was a Creek Indian proverb that maintained that we don't inherit the land from our ancestors. We borrow it from our children.
When you recycle, you help save energy and save money. Together, we can keep Troy beautiful to live, work, and study for generations to come.
When a disaster strikes, time is a killer. The UN Central Emergency Response Fund jumpstarts relief efforts, which saves lives. Help us help in time. Donate now at rapiddisasterrelief.org.
From the high-definition digital production studios of Troy University, you're watching the award-winning TrojanVision Nightly News.
House Republicans are trying to come up with their own path forward on immigration. The main sticking point is whether to give legal status to some 11 million undocumented residents. Last year, President Obama provided a pathway for young people who came to the U.S. as children. Now he and others are pressing Congress for comprehensive legislation. Danielle Nottingham has more from Capitol Hill.
For the rain didn't stop hundreds of immigrants from gathering outside the Capitol to tell lawmakers it's time to pass sweeping reform. 22-year-old Raymond Jose came to the U.S. when he was 9. He can stay thanks to an Obama administration program, but he fears his parents could be sent back to the Philippines at any time.
No family should have to worry about when the last time they're going to see each other.
House Republicans met Wednesday to figure out a way forward after the Senate passed comprehensive reform. The GOP is united behind tougher border security provisions, but not a pathway to citizenship for illegal immigrants already in the U.S.
If you do that, then you have forever destroyed the rule of law, at least with regard to immigration, for all time.
The young people out here want Republican lawmakers to know change needs to happen now. This is about their lives and their families.
It's not about border security and enforcement, it's about families, it's about real people, and they keep forgetting that.
Several influential Republicans do support a pathway to citizenship, including former President George W. Bush.
The laws governing the immigration system aren't working. The system is broken.
The White House is trying to keep up the pressure on House Republicans, making the case that fixing the broken immigration system will be good for the economy. Danielle Nottingham, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
The George Zimmerman trial is winding down. The defense is calling witnesses to back up their client's story that he acted in self-defense. Susan McGinnis is at the courthouse in Sanford, Florida.
Consistent with someone doing this.
Defense attorney Mark O'Mara used a mannequin to drive home his client's story. George Zimmerman claims Trayvon Martin repeatedly bashed his head into a cement sidewalk, forcing him to shoot the 17-year-old in self-defense.
The injuries, the 2 lacerations, could that have come from cement? If somebody was resisting me pushing down like this,
I believe so.
Self-defense expert Dennis Root told the defense Zimmerman was no match for the younger, stronger Martin in a fight. But during cross-examination, prosecutor John Guy used the same mannequin to suggest the teenager was not the aggressor.
If Trayvon Martin had been backing up and the defendant raised his gun and shot at 90 degrees.
Zimmerman is charged with second-degree murder. If the prosecution doesn't believe it will get a second-degree murder conviction, it can ask that the jury consider manslaughter or other charges.
If you believe that George Zimmerman was walking around with that gun unholstered, that would be aggravated assault with a firearm, of which he could be receiving a minimum sentence of 25 years in prison.
The jury will be able to see this animation made for the defense during closing arguments, showing Zimmerman's version of what happened. But it's not clear if the court will hear from the defendant. The judge asked Zimmerman if he planned to testify on his own behalf, sparking several objections from his attorney.
Your objection is overruled. Mr. Zimmerman, have you made a decision as to whether or not you want to testify in this case?
No, not at this time.
The defense could wrap up its case today. Susan McGinnis, CBS News, Sanford, Florida.
The latest information on the deadly crash landing of a South Korean jet points to a possible problem with the plane's cruise control. Begad Shaban has the latest details from San Francisco.
Federal investigators released new video today of the wreckage of Asiana Flight 214. They're still combing through the plane, collecting and documenting evidence. It could be several more days before the charred fuselage can be removed. The debris field is still littered with newspapers, magazines, and other items. The focus of the investigation is now on the plane's autothrottle system, similar to a car's cruise control. The veteran pilot thought the autothrottles were set for a proper landing speed.
He assumed that the autothrottles were maintaining speed.
But they weren't. The plane came in too slow. Investigators found the autothrottles were armed, meaning they were ready for use but not engaged. The question now is whether it was a mechanical problem or human error. The pilot at the controls, who was still in training for this kind of plane, was being overseen by the co-pilot seated to the right of him. But that flight was the co-pilot's first as an instructor. After the crash, the Asiana pilots were not tested for drugs or alcohol. While those tests are standard procedure following air accidents here in the U.S., they are not required for foreign pilots. The NTSB, meanwhile, is being criticized for releasing information about the investigation. The Airline Pilots Association says that's only fueling speculation about the cause of the accident. But NTSB chairwoman Debbie Hersman says the public has the right to know.
One of the hallmarks of the NTSB is our transparency. We work for the traveling public.
The investigation is expected to last several months. Begad Shaban, CBS News, San Francisco.
And now Mitchell Spoon joins us for a look at sports. So Mitchell, some exciting news for senior kicker Will Scott.
That's right, he's getting some national recognition, but I'll get more to that starting right now. Troy senior Will Scott is one of 30 players named to the Groza Award watch list, which was released earlier today by Palm Beach County Sports Commission. The Groza Award is presented annually to the nation's top police kicker. Scott, a native of Bluesdale, Mississippi, was 17 for 21 last season for the Trojans and connected on his final 12 attempts of the season to establish a new Troy record for consecutive makes. Scott also set a new Troy record for longest field goal made when he booted a 52-yard field goal at Florida Atlantic and tied a Troy single-game record with 4 field goals against Arkansas State and kicked the game-winning field goal against FIU. Scott finished the 2012 season with the 3rd most made field goals and 3rd best field goal percentage in school history.